And you know Monica and Ross, and that's Phoebe, and that's Joey.
Hey, how you doing?
Don't you?
For 10 years, Thursday nights belonged to 6 people, in 2 apartments and a coffee shop with a permanently empty couch. From 1994 to 2004, Friends ran on NBC and became the kind of show you did not just watch, you lived inside. But behind that warmth were 100 small decisions, accidents, and surprises that never made it onto the screen. Tonight, we pull back the curtain on 10 of them, the ones that shaped everything you remember. Fact number 10, the song Nobody Wanted. The producers first wanted Shiny Happy People as the theme. When Michael Stipe rejected the offer, the producers wrote their own instead. Composer Michael Skloff and writers David Crane, Marta Kaufman, and Ali Willis put something new together. Then the Rembrandts were brought in to record it. They were reluctant. They were in the middle of an album. The mood was wrong. And they had no interest in recording a TV jingle. They did it anyway, in roughly 45 seconds. Then, a Nashville radio programmer pulled the clip from a TV recording, looped it, and put it on the air. Listeners began calling the station, asking for more. The Rembrandts went back into the studio. The 4 famous handclaps were never really planned. The duo had been drinking, decided to wrap up for the night, and came back the next day clapping instead of finishing the lyrics. The Rembrandts never wanted the song. A radio programmer in Tennessee made it unavoidable. That reluctant jingle became one of the most recognized pieces of music of the decade. Fact number 9, 6 people in a fountain at 4 in the morning. The opening credits of Friends were never supposed to involve a fountain at all. The original plan was a rooftop shoot. 6 friends at a New York-style party above the city. Wind and cost killed that idea. Producers wandered the Warner Brothers ranch in Burbank and found a fountain built in the 1930s, flanked by row houses designed to suggest Boston or New York. They lit the windows behind it to look like a city at night and called it close enough. The cast shot the scene late, jumping into the fountain at around 4 in the morning. By the end, they were soaked and freezing. Matthew Perry broke the silence. "I don't remember a time when I wasn't in the fountain." The others burst out laughing. The crew captured it, and that raw, exhausted laughter made it into the final cut. The fountain itself dated back to around 1935 and had appeared in Hocus Pocus and Bewitched before 6 unknown actors made it iconic. Fact number 8, the door that built itself by accident. Monica Geller's purple door and its yellow peephole frame are 2 of the most recognized images in television history. Neither was intentional. Production designer John Schaffner had to fight hard just to get the purple walls approved. Everyone was anxious about it until he painted a small model purple, and the resistance quietly faded. His reasoning was practical. Color tells a viewer where they are before a single word is spoken. The yellow frame came from something even simpler, a broken mirror. Set decorator Greg Grande had originally placed a picture frame on the set, but the glass inside it broke during dressing. He told one of his crew members to try placing the empty frame around the peephole instead. He liked what he saw and left it there. It stayed for 10 years on the set of Friends. Fact number 7, the 6 who refused to be divided.
I just feel like someone reached down my throat, grabbed my small intestine, pulled it out of my mouth, and tied it around my neck. Cookie?
Carol moved her stuff out today. Let me get you some coffee.
Thanks.
By season 2, the network had a problem it did not want to admit. David Schwimmer and Jennifer Aniston were already earning more than their castmates because the Ross and Rachel storyline was dominating Friends. Warner Brothers preferred individual contracts. They were easier to manage and easier to cut someone loose. The cast saw exactly where that could lead. Schwimmer approached Aniston and proposed that they both take a pay cut so all 6 actors could negotiate as one unit. She agreed. From season 3 onward, they walked into every negotiation together. NBC could write off 1 or 2 cast members. It could not write off all 6. Salaries climbed steadily. $75,000 in season 3, $100,000 by season 5. $750,000 by season 7, and $1 million per episode for the final 2 seasons. Later, Matthew Perry wrote, "I owe you about $30 million, David." Fact number 6, the couch nobody bought.
There you go, enjoy your coffee.
That was there when I got here.
The famous burnt orange sofa at Central Perk was never purchased new. It was salvaged from the basement of Warner Brothers and reupholstered. The entire set for Friends was built in under 2 weeks. Set decorator Greg Grande pulled mismatched vintage pieces deliberately. Nothing coordinated, everything worn in. His goal was simple: make it feel like a living room, not a coffee shop. The inspiration came from a real Los Angeles cafe called Insomnia Cafe on Beverly Boulevard. It was a place Marta Kaufman and David Crane used to visit. In fact, the very first name they considered for the show was Insomnia Cafe. The artwork on the walls of Central Perk was swapped out every 3 episodes throughout the series. Most viewers never noticed. They were too busy watching 6 friends talk on a second-hand couch that somehow became one of the most recognizable pieces of furniture in television history. Fact number 5. The pregnancy they turned into a storyline.
How are things going?
Good. No, but okay, it feels like everything's been about me lately, so what's happening with you?
Oh, well, actually, we were just talking about me not going to Ross's wedding.
Oh.
Most television shows hide a real pregnancy behind loose jackets and careful camera angles. But Friends did something bolder. When Lisa Kudrow became pregnant with her son Julian in 1997, the writers built the storyline around it instead of concealing it. They made Phoebe Buffay a surrogate for her half-brother, Frank Buffay Jr., and his wife. Since Phoebe was not in a serious relationship, writing in a conventional pregnancy would have felt forced. The surrogacy kept her free-spirited character intact, while giving Kudrow's growing bump a reason to exist on screen. Because Kudrow's pregnancy was more advanced than Phoebe's storyline, the writers added triplets to justify the size of her bump. Off-camera, before every taping, the cast would gather in a small huddle. During those seasons, they made a point of adding one more line: "Love you, little Julian." Fact number 4. The man who almost missed his own show.
All right. When do you give me your underpants? Oh, no. Can't help you. I'm not wearing any. How can you not be wearing any underwear?
When the pilot for Friends was being cast, Matthew Perry was already committed to a different pilot. It was a sitcom called LAX 2194, set in the baggage handling department of Los Angeles Airport 200 years in the future. The project was being developed for ABC. That commitment made Perry unavailable to audition for the role of Chandler Bing. Perry later wrote in his memoir that 3 weeks before his eventual audition, he had gotten down on his knees and prayed, simply asking to become famous. What made the call possible was that LAX 2194 had already been screened and judged so bad that it was immediately dropped. That failure suddenly freed Perry to audition for Friends just in time. Even after he was cast, his castmate Lisa Kudrow read the early Chandler scripts and assumed the character was gay. At the first table read, Perry's performance made her do a double take. A failed airport sitcom set in the year 2194 quietly made Friends possible. Fact number 3. The 2 legends who walked in unannounced.
I have a feeling my wife is sleeping with her gynecologist.
The most memorable cameo in the history of Friends was never planned. Robin Williams and Billy Crystal had simply stopped by from a neighboring set one day. Someone invited them to do a scene. They agreed, which meant 2 of the greatest improvisers alive suddenly walked into Central Perk and did whatever they wanted. Williams played Thomas, a man who tearfully confesses he believes his wife is cheating on him with her gynecologist. Crystal played Tim, who calmly reveals that he is that gynecologist. Both men storm out together. The entire exchange was improvised, including Matt LeBlanc's interruption and Courtney Cox's line that she could not even remember the story she had been trying to tell. The main cast had no script to follow. They simply reacted. No writer in the room could have planned the timing or the chaos of that scene. It exists because 2 people showed up on the wrong day, and nobody said no. Fact number 2, the pilot that failed every test.
Well, I've never done that with you before.
Nope.
So, how are you? How you okay?
Yeah. You?
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
Before Friends became Thursday night television, it failed in almost every room it entered. The pilot tested poorly with early audiences, and some executives at NBC were concerned about its moral content. Specifically, they worried about Monica Geller sleeping with someone on a first date. The test screening feedback was so negative, it nearly killed the show before a single episode even aired. The version that almost did not make it looked very different. Phoebe Buffay was originally written as a secondary character. They're mainly to deliver jokes around the other 4 friends, with no real arc of her own. Joey Tribbiani was not originally written as Dim. That trait only appeared after Matt LeBlanc arrived to audition. and Courtney Cox was first offered the role of Rachel Green. She turned it down and asked to read for Monica instead. What saved the show was simpler than rewrites or notes. NBC placed it in the Thursday 8:30 p.m. slot, between Mad About You and Seinfeld. That gave it the best possible audience on the best possible night of television. The pilot was watched by almost 22 million American viewers. The test rooms had been wrong about everything. Fact number 1, the last line nobody planned.
Okay, should we get some coffee?
Sure. Where?
The writers spent several days staring at the final scene without being able to write a single word. They had studied other finales, decided the Mary Tyler Moore Show ending was their gold standard, and agreed on one rule: stay true to the show, nothing high concept. Then Matthew Perry made one quiet request. He pulled Marta Kaufman aside and asked if he could have the last line of the series. "Nobody else will care about this except me," he told her. She said yes. When Rachel Green suggested one last coffee, Chandler Bing asked, "Where?" Perry later revealed he had improvised that final word entirely. Central Perk had already been dismantled by the time they filmed it. The script had leaked before air. An inside job, the creators said. Scripts were numbered to trace it. 52.5 million people watched that night. The stage was later renamed the Friends Stage. And somewhere inside all of it, one man had simply asked to say goodbye last. And so we leave Central Perk for the last time. Not as a coffee shop, but as a feeling. The couch has been cleared. The purple door is closed. But the echoes remain. In a hand clap you still know by heart. In a line you quote without thinking. Friends never pretended to be important. It just showed up and made you feel a little less alone. After all these years, that still feels like enough. If Friends was part of your life, subscribe for more stories behind the shows you love.